We thank you for all the blessings in our lives. Grant that even in times of uncertainty, we may have open hearts to feel your presence. For all your blessing, may we be people of gratitude, being a community that recognizes the value of each member. We take this time to pray for each other and anything that weighs in our hearts. God, for all the prayers offered aloud and all the prayers kept in our hearts, we ask that you may hold us in your love.
You too can participate by going to our website at mccboston.org and clicking on the donate button there for that purpose. Thank you for being a part of our church family. Also, as a way of a reminder, if you didn't get a chance last week to contribute to our Christmas offering for the Global Justice Institute, we've kept the offering open. So many contributed this evening will still be included. We've added a basket in our collection area this evening for that purpose. For those who don't know, the Global Justice Institute carries out the missions work of our denomination, working to better the lives of queer folk around the globe, especially in places where entrenched homophobia and transphobia continue to perpetuate systems of oppression. Your gift this evening will help this work to continue. Thank you for your participation. Members and friends of MCC Boston, Christmas is the perfect time to look back over the past year, to take stock of our lives, to consider where we may have fallen short, and to remember where we have been blessed. While this year has once again been more challenging than most, there have been moments of affirmation, accomplishments, and blessings. Having this church family to help us recognize and celebrate those blessings is something to cherish. As a church family, we all have a shared responsibility to see to it that this church continues to remain open for us and for all who seek an unencumbered relationship with their Creator. So this week, as you finish up your Christmas shopping, remember to keep MCC Boston on that list so we can keep being the church family that God calls us to be.
The first reading this evening is a reading from the Epistle to the Hebrews. And this is what Jesus said on coming into the world. You who wanted no sacrifice or oblation prepared a body for me. In burnt offerings or sacrifices for sin, you took no pleasure. Then I said, just as it is written of me in the scroll of the book, God, here I am. I have come to do your will. In saying that God doesn't want burnt offerings and sacrifices, which are offered according to the law, and then saying, I have come to do your will, Jesus abolishes the first covenant in order to establish the second. By God's will, we have been sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ once and for all.
Tonight's second reading is from the Gospel of St. Luke. It reads, within a few days, Mary set out and hurried to the hill country to a town of Judah, where she entered Zechariah's house and greeted Elizabeth. As soon as Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the child leaped in her womb, and Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit. In a loud voice she exclaimed, blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. But why am I so favored that the mother of the Messiah should come to me? The moment your greeting reached my ears, the child in my womb leaped for joy. Blessed is she who believed that what our God said to her would be accomplished. Mary said, my soul proclaims your greatness, O God, and my spirit rejoices in you, my Savior. For you have looked with favor upon your lowly servant, and from this day forward all generations will call me blessed. For you, the Almighty, have done great things for me, and holy is your name. Your mercy reaches from age to age for those who fear you. You have shown strength with your arm. You have scattered the proud in their conceit. You have deposed the mighty from their thrones and raised the lowly to high places. You have filled the hungry with good things, while you have sent the rich away empty. You have come to the aid of Israel, your servant, mindful of your mercy, the promise you made to our ancestors, to Sarah and Abraham and their descendants forever.
Having learned from the angel that she will give birth to the child of God, Mary hurries to visit her pregnant cousin, Elizabeth, in the southern hill country. The intimate conversation that follows portrays Jesus as more important than John. It also shows God already at work, even before Christ's birth, to overturn the world's structures and expectations. Our spotlight shines on Mary and Elizabeth, two lowly and shamed women, through whom God has chosen to begin the transformation of the world. Women, so often overlooked or ignored both in society and in biblical studies, have the only speaking roles in this scene. Two women who feel the weight of social ostracism have crucial roles to play in the drama of salvation. Mary's first words prompt an immediate, silent response from Elizabeth's unborn child. John leaps, acknowledging both her presence and the significance of the child that she carries in her womb. John's reaction to Mary's voice fulfills Gabriel's prophecy. Even before his birth, he will be filled with the Holy Spirit. Already, John points to the coming one. Though Luke clearly signals that the unborn child's leaping is prompted by the Holy Spirit, it is Elizabeth, John's mother, who speaks the prophetic word in this scene. She's filled with the Holy Spirit and proclaims what Mary has not yet told her and what is not yet visible to the eye. Mary is pregnant. I translated Elizabeth's reaction as exclaimed with a very loud cry. The Greek uses the word megas. The phrase in Greek means to shout as though one is using a megaphone, literally a big or mega voice. This is how Elizabeth speaks the prophetic word to Mary, and so to us, in her outdoor voice. Furthermore, through the Spirit, she knows whose Mary's child will be, for she calls Mary the mother of the Messiah. With this title, she acknowledges the authority and the superiority of the coming one, the baby still in Mary's womb. She considers him not only the coming of God, but also the initiation of the end time. Soon her prophecy will be filled with her own son, preparing the way for the Messiah. Elizabeth also blesses by declaring both Mary and the fruit of Mary's womb blessed. She begins a series of blessings that weave through Luke's birth narrative and intensify its tone of joy, delight, and praise. Mary, Zechariah, and Simeon will all add their blessings to the chain, praising God for what is being done at this moment in history, and recognizing that those who are privileged to be instruments of God's saving work have been richly blessed. Mary is blessed not only for her status as the mother of Jesus, but also for her trust in God's promises. In English, we lose sight of the fact that Elizabeth uses two different words for blessed. When she declares Mary blessed among women and proclaims that Mary's child is blessed, she uses the term eulogio. These words are in the perfect tense in Greek, which emphasizes that both present and future generations will praise and speak well of her and her child. However, when she says, "Blessed is she who believed there would be fulfillment of what God has spoken to her by our God," she uses the word makariah, the same term that Jesus uses to bless people in the Beatitudes. We might well translate Elizabeth's words as, "Happy is she who believed." Mary is blessed because, despite all expectations, her social status has been reversed. She will be honored rather than shamed for bearing this child. But she's also been blessed with divine joy, with beatitude, because she has believed that God is able to do what God promises to do. When Elizabeth says, "Blessed is she who believed in God," she implicitly contrasts Mary's trust in God's power and promise with her own husband's skepticism. Zechariah asked for proof that the angel's word was true. Mary asked for an explanation of what was going to happen to her, and then gave her willing consent. Zechariah, the religious professional, doubted God. But Mary, the poor peasant girl, believed, and her trust in God's promise opened the door for God to bless her and to bless the whole world through her. Elizabeth celebrates Mary's willingness to say yes to God. By greeting Mary with honor, Elizabeth overturns social expectations. Mary's an unmarried pregnant woman. She might expect social judgment, shame, and even ostracism from her older relative. This happens today in many social circles. Yet Elizabeth knows from her own experience the cost of being shamed and excluded. In her culture, and to some extent even now, a woman's primary purpose in life is to bear children, especially male children. So, as an elderly, infertile wife, she had endured a lifetime of being treated as a failure. Elizabeth's response to her miraculous pregnancy emphasizes that God's grace has reversed her social status. This is what our God has done for me. When God looked favorably on me and took away the humiliation I have endured among my people. Finally, in her old age, she is an honorable married woman, pregnant with her husband's son. Elizabeth continues with the pattern of social reversal by opening her arms and her home to a relative whom her neighbors would expect to reject. Instead of shaming Mary, she welcomes, blesses, and celebrates her, treating her as more honorable even than herself. The pregnancy that might have brought Mary shame brings instead joy and honor. When Elizabeth welcomes Mary, she lives out the same kind of inclusive love that Jesus will show to prostitutes, tax collectors, and sinners. She sees beyond the shame in Mary's situation to the reality of God's love at work, even among those whom society rejects and excludes. God still seeks partners like Mary and Elizabeth to advocate for the oppressed, exploited, ostracized, marginalized, and dehumanized, and to participate in their salvation in this world. God seeks those who understand that there can be no more silent nights until the kingdom of God is fully established in this world. All those who say yes to God are richly blessed. The Jews believed that the only way to overcome the imperial power of Rome was through God's intervention. The Annunciation and Elizabeth's response reflect this expectation of God's intervention to rescue Israel from Rome. Their ideas of how God would accomplish this were also completely turned upside down. Jesus, the new sovereign, rules on earth without any earthly monarch's permission. Christ rules not through violence, but gentleness and love. The Magnificat, this song from Mary, demonstrates that God is concerned with the social and political realities in the daily lives of people. And God acts on behalf of the oppressed and against the proud and the powerful. God brings down the powerful and lifts the lowly. God is God of this moment and of the moment to come. God is at work even now to bring the whole world into the divine realm. God's salvation is present here on earth and in the coming future. According to Mary, God's salvific action is present already and not just in the future reality. Here we can understand that Jesus' salvation starts at the moment of the Annunciation and ends at the cross. Salvation is not limited to crucifixion, but the whole life of Jesus has salvific action. God is ruling on earth as in heaven. Mary's psalm voices themes that appear in every culture, society, and generation. People are still anticipating deliverance from unjust rulers and unjust laws. The LGBTQ+ community is still under attack by the elected leaders in this country, especially us transgender people. Women are under attack simply for being women. Essential medical care for all but the rich is a major target for politicians. Immigrants who should be eligible for asylum are being turned away, abused, and even killed while in custody. They are denied basic human rights. Americans are denied sufficient living wages, all for the sake of already obscene profits. Jesus is present today in our efforts to feed our children, pay our bills, and have health insurance. Jesus is with us in our efforts to love and to serve our neighbors. In other words, Jesus is concerned with our social realities. Jesus still cares about alleviating suffering. Elizabeth's words and actions invite us to reflect on our own openness to the ways that God chooses to act in our world. What is God doing through unexpected people in our society today? Where is God at work through people whom our neighbors and fellow church members often exclude or treat as shameful? Will we listen to the Spirit's prompting when the hearers of God's new reality show up on our doorstep? May we, like Elizabeth and Mary, trust that God is coming to save and free us. May we, like them, give thanks that God has taken away our shame and respond to God's love by welcoming the shameful. May we, like Elizabeth, use our mega voice to announce the coming of our Messiah. May we say yes to becoming God's partners in transforming the world. May we, like them, become a community that supports each other as we hope and wait just a little longer. Amen. On the night in which he was betrayed for living authentically as God intended, Jesus was gathered with friends and family for a meal. He took up the bread, gave thanks, and broke it, and said, "This is my body, broken for you. As often as you eat of this, remember me." Likewise, after the meal, Jesus took the cup, gave thanks, and blessed it, and said, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, shed for you and for all, for the forgiveness of sins. As often as you drink of this, remember me." Here at MCC Boston, as in all MCCs, we offer an open communion. This means that you don't have to be a member of this church or any church, or even to have been baptized. All we ask is that you are willing to share this meal with those gathered around you, and with all those who participate in this ritual throughout all time and all places. Go at the peace of the Christ child, who comes to partner with us to bring the kingdom that will never end. Amen.
Amen.